After a 5-1 start, the Knicks have come crashing down to earth, losing 5 of their last 7 games, sending their fans into a frenzy. It's not just the losing, but it's how it's happening. Lazy effort, a lack of desire, third quarters of doom, you name it, this Knick team seems nothing like the scrappy underdogs that shocked the league last year all the way to a 4th seed. Still, there are 69 games left in the season, a season that has many twists and turns to come. But to hit their goals, the Knicks will have to adjust their approach. Let's go through some of the major areas for improvement as the Knicks look to get back on track.
Take notes!
Big Beach! We're here.
My man Alan just did.
It's different this time.
What's up, guys?
Go!
The starting lineup just doesn't work. The off-season acquisitions of Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier were widely praised by the Knick fan base. Both players were obvious talent upgrades on Elfrid Payton and Reggie Bullock. And after the Knicks' offense stalled against Atlanta in the playoffs last season, many saw the jump in offensive talent as a much-needed addition. But despite some good individual performances, it's becoming clear that this is just not working. The chemistry in the starting lineup is off, and Thibs may have to make changes sooner or later. His patience is running thin.
You know what they say. When it's 10 games, you say you need 20. And when you get to 20, you say 30. And then when you get to 30, you say 40. And then before you know it, the season's over. So it's a bunch of bullshit.
All right, I hate to say it, but facts are facts. The starting lineup is not working. They are, and I'll put the stats up on the screen, the worst defensive lineup in NBA history. Think of how crazy that is. That's how bad it's been. There is a lack of point of attack defenders. Last year, for all their faults, Reggie couldn't really dribble. Elfrid had a lot of issues, but Reggie and Elfrid were much better on the perimeter. We are collapsing too much, leaving shooters open from deep. We're not playing with effort, we're not playing with energy. We're going to talk about RJ a bit later, but even RJ's defense has been slipping. There's just a general lack of energy and desire in the starting lineup. And look, talent, there's more talent there, but we saw last year, we saw the exact opposite. A team with less talent than a lot of teams play together, play as a unit on defense, and I just see a lot of the pieces not fitting. I want to see how this comes together, but there needs to be a change. I just do not see this Fournier and Kemba backcourt really working, and it's sad to see, but there are some issues there.
Well, what you said is so true. Last year, what we saw was this scrappy, hungry team.
Yep.
Really playing together as a unit. And one of the things I always talk about is when these guys are playing together, right, and they're cohesive with each other. And we were seeing that was actually one of the praises we always had for them last year, was that, this team is playing together. Like, they like each other, they're playing as a unit. And we are not seeing that team effort in the starting lineup at all. It's definitely off. I know we have Kemba and Fournier, and that first game that Fournier played, we were like, wow, like this is fantastic, right? This is exactly what we needed, and we were actually thinking we were going to see that from Kemba, but we saw it from Evan first, and we were like, great, so now Kemba's going to step up as well. But it does seem to me that there's something that's not gelling. Something is not gelling with these 5 guys that are starting. Yeah. Kemba has not quite found his groove with the team. And Evan Fournier, we sort of thought he found it really early, and now he seems to be losing it. So we do need to see some change in those 5 guys that are starting, because they are not playing together. It's almost like they're playing separate basketball. Obi Toppin and IQ need more minutes. While the starting lineup has faltered, the bench has become one of the best 5-man units in the entire league. The energy brought by the 2 second-year players is palpable and infectious. Obi has looked great all season long, getting after it in transition, making hustle plays, and even his defense is much improved. IQ started slowly, but in recent games he's back to his best, hitting clutch threes, playing great point of attack defense, and generally being the spark plug he was so often last year. They both need to play a lot more.
Free Obi. Obi Toppin has started this season brilliantly. I think he's the most fun player in the fan base. Everyone wants him to play more. Ben Stiller is tweeting about Obi Toppin. It's very clear. You watch these games, Obi's getting limited time, getting 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 minutes a game. And in that period, he's scoring, he's getting after in transition, he has energizing dunks, he's playing good defense, he's hustling, he's playing with infectious, fun, joyful energy, and players look happy to play with him. IQ and Obi are coming off the bench, and you get excited when they come on because you know they're going to give effort. They're playing with the energy that we had last year. It's carried over, and they're bringing it every night. I don't know how it's going to work out between Obi and Randle. I don't know if it's Obi at the 5 and we see Obi and Randle together. If Randle's minutes need to be cut, there's a lot to go on there. But Obi has to play more. And what we're seeing from IQ, think about this. If Kemba didn't have his name, if Fournier didn't have his name, if these guys didn't have their names, how could IQ not be the starter right now? And I'm not saying you just push him there for pushing him their sake, but these guys right now, whether it's you want to start them, you want to just play them more, they deserve to be on the court.
I want to see these two guys play more minutes for sure, and I love how they play together.
Yep.
We just spoke about the starting lineup and them not gelling, right? The bench lineup is completely the opposite. So actually, I don't know if I want IQ in the starting lineup, because then do we lose the chemistry that they have coming off the bench? You see when they play together that they don't even, it's like they know where each other is going to be. They don't even have to have the conversation. It's like very much like, what do they say when you can see?
The telepathic
but not
telekinesis.
just that, even just your vision, not even having to
peripheral
vision, knowing that player is there, knowing he's going to be there, knowing he's going to catch the ball, knowing that you can shoot there, knowing he's going to come in and give you a screen, whatever it is. So again, yes, they are playing. Also, remember they're the young guys, and they know they're the young guys, so they have something to prove.
Yep.
These other guys, Randle already proved what he had to prove last year, right? Kemba and Fournier have already proved what they are in the league. So I feel like both Obi and Emmanuel know that they have to prove who they are in this league still, and that's why you're seeing them play with that effort, with that energy. They love playing together, and I don't know necessarily if I want IQ to move into the... I understand your point, but I don't think I really wanted to move into the starting lineup.
I understand your point, right? It's like, it's all addition by subtraction. They do that, and then maybe the starting lineup's a little bit better, but the bench is worse, and then are we actually better? Right. Whatever it is. I think, and we talk about Tibbs coming up, I think a lot of this has to do with just making better decisions with the rotation, right? A couple of games, it felt like they should have just stayed out there. The last game against Charlotte, it came down late. They got us back in the game. And when Tibbs pulled Obi from the game, I could not believe it. I even said it as a joke, and then it happened. We've seen it all year long. Obi getting pulled at some rare times. Listen, Tibbs has earned his respect, of course, and Randle is our star. But, you know, we're not winning games right now.
Randle's our star for now.
Yes, we're going to talk about that next. But the bench is giving us a lot. You brought up that chemistry and them understanding each other. Rose, Burks, IQ, Toppin, and Noel. All five players that were
that team.
All five players that were here last year. And they played a lot last year. So it's very clear. They know each other literally, right? Obi and Rose and IQ and Burks. Literally all four of them were on the bench last year. Noel had to start a lot more because Mitch was injured. But Noel's an easy guy to put in there. When Taj plays, it makes sense. It works. Right. The NBA is too good, and specifically the Eastern Conference is far too improved for you to win these games just on their talent alone. These guys are playing hard all across the league. They're playing team basketball, and our bench is doing that. The funny thing is, we brought up that the bench is one of the best units in the league.
Right.
Not one of the best benches. Right. One of the best units. I think right now they're the third statistically best unit in the entire NBA. So that's including teams with stars, this, that, and the other.
Right.
A lot of work to be done. The bench needs to play more. We got to figure out how the rotation works.
Julius Randle as the leader. After a tumultuous first season in New York, last year, Julius Randle made it his personal mission to shut up the haters. This season, however, a lot of the criticisms of that first year have returned. Randle's emotions have gotten the better of him on the court at times, and he's still trying to figure out the right balance with his lineup. There's this nursery rhyme, and I can't remember the name of it. It's a very old nursery rhyme. Anyway, it's about this girl, and it says that when she was good, she was very, very good, and when she was bad, she was horrid. Now, it's talking about her personality and whatever she's doing in her life. It's a little girl that we're talking about. But I feel sometimes with Julius, his mood, and I don't know what's contributing to his mood, but his mood is very evident on the court, and I don't want it to be.
Yep.
I want him to come in the same way all the time. You said it. You sometimes see him super happy, he's smiling, he's laughing, and then he goes on the court and he has this great game. And then sometimes you see him in a little funk, and then he doesn't have a great game. And being the leader of the team, he cannot come in with any kind of mood. I have to just say really quickly, RJ, to me, comes in with the same mood all the time. Same kind of, I call it a poker face, right? I shouldn't know necessarily what mood you're going to be in and how you're going to play on the court. These other teams have watched the tape. These other teams know that Julius is the star. They know exactly how he plays. They know how to fumble him. They know how to get him in trouble. They know how to mess with his psyche, if you want to say that. And so they have pulled his card. They know what to do with Julius Randle. And when that happens in the first quarter, he's done.
God, harsh, but true. It's true. Listen, we saw it in the Atlanta series where you had a horrible series. First playoff series was a lot going on there. After last year, give him a pass. Coming into this season, Julius works hard. He gets his money. Got a big deal, 4 years, $117 million. Now, didn't take as much as he could have. I still think it's a great value deal for the Knicks. Even at his best, he's only going to be making $29 million, which is definitely below his value in a league where guys like him are sometimes making $40 million. So he's allowing us to help build a team. Love all of it. That said, Randle has to get a handle on some of his emotions. And I don't like saying, I'm not a basketball player. I'm not with the Knicks team. So you see him act a certain way on the court. We're just looking at it from our point of view, right? I don't like, speculating too much. But obviously people have brought up him having a kid. We've also brought up the lineup, him trying to fit in. How does it work? There's more scorers now. He's trying to make it work. What's weird with Julius is I don't feel he's necessarily being super selfish. I don't feel like he's just being like, oh, it's mine, my ball. I hate that Kemba's here now. I hate that Evans here now. I want to score.
Yeah, I'm not saying that.
I'm not really feeling that, but I do feel, one, he's taking much harder shots than he needs to take. Too many times I'm watching Randle come down, put an ISO, do a couple moves, try to take a fadeaway jumper, and it looks good. Sometimes there's style points, but a lot of these are not good shots. And even if they go in, and last year they were going in a ton, but even if they go in, it's not how you want to be building your offense, especially when you have more options. Then on defense, his effort has been lackluster far too often. When Randle's engaged and he's in a one-on-one matchup, we've seen this, right? When he's going one-on-one against someone and it's like a constant battle back and forth, I see him super engaged on defense. He wants to stop that one guy. When it comes to team defense, he's getting lost sometimes. He doesn't know what to do. He's just not as motivated. He's giving bad effort, and you see that classic shoulder drop. And you can feel it. You can feel it. It spreads throughout the team. Listen, I feel a little weird about putting this all on his shoulders, but when Randle's getting... He's the leader of the team. Last year, he got the praise, right? Last year, MVP every game. The fans were behind him. His demeanor, his excitement led us to where we ended up. This year, you're seeing it in the wins, but in the losses, we're not seeing him picking them up. We're not seeing him getting the guys back together, saying, hey, guys, listen, I know this isn't the perfect game right now, but we got to get it together. We got to start doing the little things. And I can't remember which coach once said this, but this coach once said that the little things don't matter. The little things are everything.
Right.
It's not just the little things. The little things are big things. Every little thing you do wrong adds up. And I think Julius is a prime example of this, of the little things adding up to a sum that's greater than the whole, unfortunately less than the whole. Because this is just not working. And I see him frustrated. I see these moments. I just want to be like, yo, bro. He spoke about this. He spoke about this after their first season. He said he would see after his first season, which was such a disaster in some ways. He said that his son was seeing him, and he realized his son was seeing him, and he fixed it for last year. Last year, I know you're gonna say something. Let's finish this off. Last year, COVID, empty stadiums.
Right.
Now,
Now,
a lot of people have said, don't put too much weight into that, and I kind of agree. I don't think that just because it was empty, he was able to do this.
But we're losing home games.
We're losing home games, and Randle's a unique player, where I feel like he's affected more by this than other players, and I felt like he was able to really focus in last year and just focus on the game.
Right.
There's a lot more going on. He's a bigger star now. He's in ads. There's a lot of stuff going on with Randle.
Even with the free throws, he's making 50%. I mean, meaning every time he has two free throws, he's making one.
Late in the game,
not making the other one.
Yeah, he's shooting much higher than over the season, but late in the game, he's been iffy. I don't want to bring up trade stuff yet. It's very early in the season, and Randle has certainly proved that we should give him the benefit of the doubt, because what he came back from, I've not seen another New York athlete come back from.
Right.
From being the villain to being the hero.
Right.
But it's some weird stuff going on, and I really hope he can get through it. I can't pinpoint anything, but his energy feels off too often. And we got a long way to go. Hopefully we figure it out over time. It's a lot of adjustment though, and now he's firmly the star. He's now, like last year, you didn't know, and then he made that jump. Now it's a different year with more talent, and he clearly is the number one guy. I just want him to pick and choose his moments better. Be smarter about some of the shots he's taking. Keep moving the ball like he is, and trust his teammates more. And hopefully we can see something change. But something is definitely off.
Something's definitely off, and outside of something definitely being off and him not being able to find that groove, we can't play this in the playoffs.
Oh!
He cannot play like this in the playoffs at all. It's completely not going to work. And I'm saying playoffs, maybe even play in if because
the East is a lot better.
Right now, things have to change with this team. The game plan has to change with the team. because like I said, other teams know how we play. Other teams know the Knicks now are not just going to sweep by, or we're not the underdogs anymore.
Right.
We're not the underdog team. Other teams are coming into our arena and they want to show off as they always have, but they know how we're playing and they know how to get around us. So things have to change. RJ has to take the leap. Ask Knick fans about RJ a couple of weeks ago and they'll say he's set for the highly anticipated third-year leap. 5 20-point games in a row with an especially dominant performance against the Pelicans on the road, and it seemed he was ready to take over. Again, inconsistency has reared its head. RJ has been poor the past 4 or so games, and worse yet, his offense struggles have started to affect his defensive and overall effort, something we didn't see too much of in the first 2 years. We're not really worried about RJ. He always seems to bounce back. But it's year 3, and while the highs are great, the lows are just too low at times.
RJ, you're my guy. I love what I've seen for some of this season. You've taken some leaps. You've seen you take over late in games. You've seen you play elite defense on some of these guys. But the last 4 games have been horrible. And I'm sorry, you're the number 3 pick. Right? I trust RJ long term, but you're the number 3 pick. You can't have these games. His lows are way too low. You know what I mean? His base level performance has to be higher than 2 points, 1 for 9 shooting. Like, he has to get to the point where it's like, I'm not having these games anymore. Because it hurts us. Especially if he's supposed to be the second guy or the third guy. He is really the pick that's supposed to be the franchise guy, considering we picked him number 3. And, you know, what's really alarming to me, not alarming long term, but at least in the period we're in, is to see him now not playing good defense. We're not doing the little things. So I always felt that if RJ wasn't scoring, he's trying to give you everything.
Right.
But maybe that chemistry is just affecting everyone right now.
RJ being the 3rd pick, but also I think that he was brought here to be the face of the franchise.
Yeah.
I know we got Julius. I know he's the leader right now, but to me, where he was picked and how he came into the league, he in this 3rd year right now is supposed to be breaking out and becoming that superstar. Like, around the league, people are supposed to be looking at him like, oh, wow, the Knicks have RJ Barrett. He was the number 3 pick. Oh, wow, he's the superstar. I personally believe he still will be that superstar for us because I see these glimpses in him, and I love everything about this kid's demeanor. I love that he's already built like a man. I love that he has the right temperament when he's playing, and I love that even when he is not scoring, and he's only making 2 points, that he gives us everything else.
So that's not been happening. That's the problem.
Right. So yeah. that is the problem, because I didn't mind when, okay, he only scored 5 or 6 points, but across the board, he's giving us everything else we want to see. He's still giving us the defense. He's still giving us assists.
Yeah.
He's still being a crucial part of the team. And so I do feel, though, I don't know if it's something personally that's happening, or like you said, if it's the chemistry. And when we say chemistry, I do think this team likes each other, and I do think they get along. I think there's something to say with a couple of new players that have come in and them not quite having found their groove yet.
Yeah.
Like the jigsaw puzzle that has to fit. They haven't quite found that part yet. And then I do wonder if any of Julius's mood, or I don't want to say attitude, but if any of his stuff is rubbing off a little bit on RJ. I don't know if that could be something happening, because they are number 1 and number 2 guy.
Yeah. You're right. Listen, I think I'll say this: when I've seen RJ running with OB and IQ, there's just general joy there. You can just feel it, and I feel like we're harping on Julius a bit too much here. But I do want to see RJ a bit more at the bench unit. I want to see, if we're experimenting with lineups, I want to see RJ being allowed to play with those guys who play a little bit more free, a little bit more fun. You know, that's the guys around his age. That's how they play ball. So I kind of want to see him with that group and see if that makes a difference. I do think RJ will get out of his funk. But regardless of Randle, the chemistry in the lineup, any other outside factors, if you are going to be a star in this league, you don't let these performances happen over and over. And you don't let your low performance look like you're a bench player. Right? When these stars have bad games, they don't look like that. They don't look like they shouldn't be starting. They just look like they had a bad game.
Right.
RJ's bad games are just too low. And early on, you would see it. He'd have like a couple of games and he scored 2 points or 1 point. And you'd be like, okay, he's working it out. But year 3, and you can clearly see the games where he has taken over, he can do it. And he has to hold himself to that standard. Like I said, not worry about RJ. He's going to get there eventually.